What's up, everyone here? This is Edgar. Just wanted to kind of redo this video, and I wanted to just manually talk about the Black Panther situation. There is a petition out towards Marvel to not uh, give the mantle towards Shuri and just recast the character. And I'm like, so you're telling me you would have a recasting towards an actor that practically gave his heart and soul to, but instead you would rather just want that character to continue, and you don't know if that shit's gonna work or not. I mean, it's a big difference between yours truly, War Machine or Hulk or whatever. I mean, yeah, they recast Hulk and War Machine. I agree about that whole argument. Why should Black Panther not get treated the same? Is because you have an actor who gave 100% of that character, and I don't think that actor could ever fucking bring that character to life the same type of way that Chadwick Boseman did. And honestly, I feel like people are very against on Shuri. I mean, I get it. People really don't want female superheroes taking over. Male superheroes is very much, let's say, a men's job. And really, to be fair, that really says a lot about people today. And I really kind of feel like when they don't understand a character's legacy, or a legacy character like Black Panther or fucking Captain America or something, to where there's more than just one guy. And that's the whole point of what the studio or comic book is trying to say. It's more than just one guy. And I feel like sometimes storytelling could do a lot of great things. However, the problem that people don't see, and this is something that I truly, truly, truly see that people don't get, is I feel like, what the fuck? They talked about the family. I hope they talked about the family. Oh, well, it's a petition. I'll send you a link. Right? I'll send you a link down. Come down to the whole chat, because right now, hold on. Come down to the call. Right, get in. But I mean, the whole factor is there is a petition out there of Black Panther 2 demanding a recasting. And I'm like, oh, dear God, why? Why? I mean, and they give off dumb reasons to where, oh, finish the character, continue that character's story. We already saw that. We saw him protecting his country. We saw him in the Avengers movie. We don't need to see any more. All you want is to see him with Storm, him with the Fantastic Four, a lot of fan service that you guys want to see, and that's all you want. It's the fan card of that character and that culture of what that character means something towards you. And I honestly kind of feel like, to be fair, you have a right to have that point of view, but it's also stupid, because you never know, that shit could be an absolutely fucking failure. I mean, I start stupidity.
Yeah, in my opinion, I don't know if they should recast or not. It's just really weird.
I mean, like, personally, I'm like, a recasting of Black Panther would just be fucking stupid. I'm like, why? Why do a recasting? Like, I really would love to have that argument on someone. Why should there be a recasting? I mean, I really feel like there shouldn't be a point to where a recasting is an option. It really just, it would be dumb. And I get, like, and this is the point they say. They use arguments of Heath Ledger, but yet again, at that point where when they use arguments of Heath Ledger, I start to kind of wonder. I'm like, true, that is true that they did continue that character in one way or another, but they rid him off out of the film, and they had to replace the Joker over Bane because some of the parts of Bane was Joker's parts if they were continuing with the same actor, and his demise wasn't going to happen. I mean, I don't know. I mean, personally, they also used the argument of Dumbledore as well in Harry Potter, but I'm like, yet again, that's a novel book. When you have comic books, there's different interpretations, and when you're dealing with a legacy character that you established, really, it just says a lot. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Apparently.
I mean.
Yeah, apparently, but the demographic for Black Panther, like a lot of the men, some of them want it to be recast, and a lot of the women, they want to see Shuri. So it might be like one of those situations where it's like, men want to see like a strong. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get the like, but yet again, you could say the same thing towards entertainment as well. Like, women is never like the women. The way how Hollywood works, like sometimes it works really great, sometimes it is absolutely shit. And I feel like, to be fair on that argument, it really they don't understand, like, people just have to do things that are right for the actor and the family. I mean, the family of the actress who plays Princess Leia, and to be fair, I always say this, Carrie Fisher's death really kind of hurt the sequel trilogy, because what happened? They killed her off, and it was the dumbest, almost insulting way. I mean, to be fair, I kind of
flying. Yeah, didn't she start flying or something?
Yeah, that was the second film, which was so dumb. Like, wait, what? She uses the Force?
I saw that scene, and it looked like a cartoon.
Yeah, I'm like, what kind of a bullshit is this? I mean, like, I may like the sequel trilogy, but that threw me off. I'm sorry. I mean, like, that shit threw me off. I mean, that really just did not work for me. It made no sense. They had no, and that's another thing about the sequel fucking trilogy. There is so many things. There are plot holes or contradictions, or just say shit and they don't do anything with it. And that is like, oh boy, it bothers me to that degree on the sequel trilogy. But I mean, yet again, I still like a lot of things out of it. But I mean, it's just, I'm at that point with the whole Black Panther situation. I wanted to talk about this because I saw 3 Buck Theater talking about it, and it really kind of made me want to do this, but also wanted to talk about a little bit of the DC news that's going on right now. Apparently, the New Gods the New Gods script is out there somewhere, and it was really good towards a lot of people, which is great to hear. I'm glad Tom King kind of did what he did with those characters, but I mean, it just goes to show you that I'm like, man, Warner Brothers sure loves to fuck with people, sure loves to ruin things. Could have been really great, could have been really good. You could have had fucking the whole Justice League Immortals could have been really good. Could have beaten Marvel right out of the gate. Sounded fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know about you, but it's like I read that script. That was really great, and it's just, I don't know. I mean, like, Warner Brothers.
WB just has that effect of, they have the effect of, why should I care? It might get canceled or screwed over anyway, Yeah,
that's true. Or just like, I mean, you might have a fan like, is it really investing? Do we need to do a movie on that may not be successful, or should we just do characters that make money? That's just how they do it. And
Yeah.
I told my friends about this too. Like the only thing that, and this is before I say it, if we are successful of restoring the Snyderverse, the casualty, and this is gonna hurt, but yet again, to be fair, it's a gift and a curse, regardless what. Matt Reeves' Batman movies may be the casualty to not be continuing.
I heard that's been in a lot of development hell behind the scenes with the filming or something.
Yeah, and
There's
also
like a
heard.
bunch of weirdo
Oh,
rumors.
yeah, I also heard that fucking yours truly, um, and I mean yours truly, Robert Pattinson had problems with Matt Reeves and everything between because he kept on repeating the same scene over and over and over and over, and I'm like, oh. And there are reports of where he did the same things with Planet of the Apes, and I'm like, oh boy, he's a director that just wants spot on perfect the way he wants it. And it's like that's good and bad at the same time. Because the fuck happened now? Is that your phone?
Oh yeah, it was a notification. Whoops.
Okay. But I mean, it's just it is what it is, and I wanted to talk about the whole Black Panther thing. I'm like, and just give off my 2 cents on this whole thing. I'm like, I don't think a recasting of a Black Panther would be that great of an option. And I feel like people like so blindly just want that and using arguments of character or actors who have done different franchises like Harry Potter, what else? Heath Ledger. But I mean,
Yeah.
to a degree, I'm like, but even they did that, they still kill off the characters. Hell, they said they were. Disney says that they were continuing Princess Leia on the things they took. They killed her off in the end. Now, granted, there's a major rumor going around in Black Panther 2 that there's going to be an Atlantean. And we all know what that leads to, Namor and
Oh yeah,
Atuma.
Namor. I heard they might make him Polynesian or a native islander.
Yeah, I could see something that working. Which, to be fair, that would work. I mean, that's something like you don't know what is it an Atlantean. So, hell, you could say the same thing towards Aquaman to a degree, but yet again, he's half human to a degree as well. So it's kind of like, so it's just get to the point, and I feel like if they do a recasting, it's curtains on them. If that actor sucks, not only for Marvel but that actor as well. And who's going to be the blame for it? Who's going to be the blame for the ones that decide to do it? It's going to be Marvel, but it has to be the fans. A lot of people like me are going to be saying, see, guys, if you just went our way, we wouldn't have this problem. But yet again, you would have all these people just throwing their shit up, saying all this crap, which honestly, it's like, I really just don't want a point to where, oh, we recast an actor because of reasons and we had to listen to our fans. Look, I get it. They listen to a lot of us, but it's just time to just say there's a point to where respecting the actor and respecting the family. I don't want to have a Star Wars situation to where that the family of the family of Carrie Fisher did not like how Disney was continuing that character. And honestly, I don't want that. I feel like that's just wrong. In a way, if they don't want to kill him off, they could have it where Chadwick Boseman's King T'Challa passed the mantle towards Shuri, and she became the Black Panther off screen.
We never see the character. We just hear about him.
Yeah, and we just go for, and he could just be a king towards his people, trying to go into politics. And if you want to recast the actor, because there's also this discussion of CGI or deep fake, those deep fakes where they look like the same actor. yeah, to a certain degree, to where they look like just like the person. Technology is getting to a point to where it is going to be almost literally that's the same person. You brought that person to life.
Yeah, with technology nowadays, you can pretty much like edit together your own fan made trailers, movies, and animated stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like if they're going to do something like that, I would have at least somewhat prefer that direction. But I feel like that would be the only good part I would want. Um, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, hopefully they can do it, and hopefully they can go forward on the direction. But it's just, I would like to have a character to where if we're going Shuri, we pass him until towards that. But yet again, I also want to bring back Killmonger. I'm like, well, why don't we bring back Killmonger? You can make up some bullshit story to where, oh yeah, we make up to where King T'Challa before the events of Avengers Infinity War, he brought back his brother, but his brother was in a comatose state. I
Yeah,
mean, you
and
get what I mean?
there's like
Go on.
Marvel Comics time travel. You can literally like because you don't change anything in the main timeline, you can literally just pick someone from the past and put them there in the present,
Oh
and
yeah,
they'll be
too,
from like an alternate timeline.
or just where it's a oh yeah that too, to where there's an alternate timeline to yeah, they can do that too. But yet again, like they're gonna have to be like that's I would do that for Black Panther 3, to where in after Secret Wars, they have it where Killmonger became Black Panther and he killed King T'Challa, or there's an alternate timeline to where King T'Challa and or just T'Challa and Killmonger grew up together, and he died during the events of Civil War. He killed Zemo. Killmonger killed Zemo, and he became the next Black Panther. That would be fucking. That would be really great. I mean, shit, I would be watching them. Like, I mean, personally, take my credit, Marvel. I would be all for that, and because I like the actor who played Killmonger. Oh man, he was one. Like, granted, I'll say this: he was one of the few good parts on Fan Force. I mean, but
and
I mean, what?
Oh, there was this other idea. I saw this one video the other day, and
Yeah.
they said a way to bring him back is to get a new actor, but you never see him out of the costume because of a vow of silence, and take some inspiration from the Ultimate Black Panther.
Yeah, that's a good direction.
Because that one's like a mute, I believe. He's like a mute, and he's maybe a mutant, but you don't have to do that. You can probably just do the mute and the combat skills and a different kind of looking vibe on him, on his suit.
Yeah. And you could have where he couldn't speak, and you could just have a little bit of sign language.
Yeah.
I could buy that. That's a good idea. All right, okay. And you don't see the actor's face, so I'm like, to be fair, that's a good cheap way of doing it. I mean, like, yeah, I could see it. I could actually see that direction. I mean, like, and you could do like a whole thing of disability factor and him protecting his country in the shadows, and he's doing all that stuff and going forward and make something really cool. All right. I could totally. All right, go on. What you're saying?
Because because with the Shuri or the recasting thing, it's one of those things where it's like it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. But if you come up with like a clever idea, like he's a mute or something, that could work. And plus, the Inhumans, if you ever introduce Black Bolt and Black Panther, they'll both be kind of mute.
Yeah, too, and you could have a little bit of like Black Bolt kind of feels a little bit sorry for King T'Challa, and you could have that whole like he tells King T'Challa like I understand I'm a king as well, and you could have that whole king respect. And honestly, it would be great. It would be something very much good direction. And to be fair, they are rebooting the Inhumans with Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel's going to be the one that leads towards that direction, which I am so looking forward to that character, and just I just hope that I just hope Marvel treats that character justice, because I really think that they have really good direction with that character. But my biggest fears is people are going to compare towards how they are treating Spider-Man and how they're going to treat Miss Marvel. She's basically going to be the same type of character, and we're going to say a similar direction. And also, can we have a better Captain Marvel? I mean, I like Captain Marvel 1, but man, oh man, it had issues. It had issues on what it wanted to be, and that's what I had problems with. First, it's the Kree, then it's the Skrulls are the bad guys. Then the second film says, no, it's Marvel is the bad guy. I'm like, what kind? Now, granted, maybe I'm too kindly on that film and should rant about it a little bit harder. But yet again, I'm like, I want to give it a chance because it's based on that character. But I mean, it really is what it is. I mean, just I kind of feel like it really just it's stupid to where people have their own voice on that character that really kind of sucks. And I really kind of feel like if we had a good direction with that character, no one would say a word. No one would say a word. It would have been just like every other Marvel movie, and everything would be great. I mean, that's just how I kind of feel, and that's just how I see it. Do you agree?
Yeah, but for Captain Marvel, I really wish they would have done something with more with Marvel. Like,
yeah, that's another thing too. I thought Marvel was going to be, in a way, a good guy, because I'm like, I never seen him as a bad guy. I never thought he was a bad guy.
I kept hearing that like Jude Law was supposed to be Marvel or something. Mm-hmm. I got confused with like whenever they were doing those the news about that film.
And also there were concept arts of the Hive, the big brain fucking character that's in charge of the Creed. Mm-hmm. They were going to do it, but they realized, why don't we just do that in a different way? Because we got a big gigantic head, and people are going to be like, I don't know, I think you went a little bit overboard with that character, or I don't think that, or just people would totally be lost. Which, to be fair, that's a lot of the things about the MCU. A lot of the characters feel butchered, and it's just, to be fair,
I like with the MCU, a lot of the characters do feel a lot like they've been Hollywoodized or really butchered.
Yeah, very, very Hollywoodized.
Very like general audience accessibility.
Which, to be fair, it worked, but also failed at the same time. Like, I get it. Like, I mean, I'm using Thor for an example. The first two Thor films, really not that good. They tried to do the combo character. It just didn't fit. It just
no
didn't
Donald
connect.
Blake. No Donald Blake. No
at all.
Like
no. I mean, I'm like, and to be fair, like the whole Donald Blake scenario, like and also another thing, it's like, the Ultimate Thor and the Donald Blake are kind of start over fucking out. The MCU is heavily inspired by the Ultimate Thor to a certain degree, and I mean to a certain degree.
Yeah, he doesn't have like the hippie cult with him or anything like that either.
Yeah,
or he's not like an environmentalist.
And the whole Donald Blake thing was just fan service, like people like you and me. And it's just, that's where really kind of like, it made us hope like, oh, are they going to do the Donald Blake situation? No, hell no. And it's just like, granted, I'm not really too thrilled on what they're doing on Donald Blake right now. if you read the newer Thor comics.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Well, isn't he like a god or something? He's like a murderer.
No, he's basically a mortal that Odin made, and this whole thing started because of Odin was told to where Thor was going to be an evil dictator, an evil king, basically. And instead of killing him when he was a child, he instead almost wiped out humanity. And it's just like, oh god, that just really says a lot. And I found this out from Comics Explain. Granted, I'm not far into the in depth of Thor comics that he is in. I mean, I only read like the Silver Age comics, and then all the way up to where we're at right now with the newer comics. Jason Aaron got me back into Thor. If you get me what I'm trying to say, is like I got into the Jason Aaron Thor comics more than anything. But I mean, he got me into Thor a lot. But I mean, when I look at the MCU Thor, that character is more a mixture of a lot of Ultimate Thor and very sprinkled of yours truly 616 Thor.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it was great. And to be fair, it's great to see that on certain point of views, because not everything will fit into in a movie. I feel like Hank Pym would not work in a lead role on a film because he's too controversial. He's a character to where I don't think people would like, because if you really think about him, you would pretty much see a asshole dick and also a beater, pretty much. I mean, a man beater, a man that hit his wife, abused his wife, and
mental disorders.
Yeah, and
multiple personalities.
And also just like how he created a robot and X, Y, and Z. I'm like, do you really want to have that situation? So I understood the whole Scott Lang, even though I'm not a big fan of Scott Lang. The only part I liked about Hank Pym when he was Yellow Jacket, I thought he was sick as hell as Yellow Jacket. But that's just me. But I mean, and the way how they've done on the Ant-Man movies, really great, really awesome. But I mean, just the fact is, I mean, I really feel like with the problems that the Black Panther movie, god damn it, the fucking phone.
Yeah, it's a notification, sorry.
But I feel like the whole Black Panther problem is just like, I really wish we didn't have this issue. I really wish I was looking forward to Black Panther 2. I was really like, Black Panthers 2 is going to be great. We're going to have some good stuff. The moment the news broke, and I'm like, no, I didn't get it. It didn't hit me until I see R.I.P. Chadwick Boseman. I'm like, oh no. And everyone immediately thought, what's going to happen to Black Panther? I mean, it was almost like a band situation to where, what's going to happen to Linkin Park to a certain degree.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, well, we all know how that went, and that's the whole thing.
I don't even know what Linkin Park's doing anymore. Like I see that Mike dude or Shadota.
Mike, Mike is just doing his own thing. He's doing streaming, promoting people. That band's done. I mean, to be fair, to be honest, like I as a fan of that band, who's got almost all their albums practically, they are screwed without Chester. I mean, like, when you really think of that band, and if you've been to one of their concerts, that's where you kind of see, no, man, I don't see you guys ever replacing Chester or everyone getting another singer. Like, I mean, granted, there have been moments where, surprise, they made a comeback. They got another singer, and, the rest is history, and they did more records. And granted, how come, you could even use arguments, but, they're not doing that. They're not doing that because they know, because I'll say this right now, Chester was lucky that got into that band, because if he was still doing his first band, Grey Days, which thank God they're releasing the songs and remixing those first two albums. Really looking
Mm-hmm.
forward to that second album. If you didn't know, like the Grey Days, Chester's first band, and it's just they're releasing new material that they've done over the years. So it's almost like a very much like we're happy to getting something like that. But it's just, to be fair, it's almost similar towards that, what we have in Black Panther, to where we don't know where they're going to go. I mean, and have where, we're going to get another actor. Why? Why are you getting another actor and dealing with a controversial movie? Oh, good luck. I mean, good luck. It's your funeral. I don't want that. I don't really want a Black Panther that's going to be very shitty. Like, I mean, like, look at the Crow movie. They milked the fuck out of that film. And they
it went all the way to like direct to DVD stuff.
And they did the TV show that sucked.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's like, I'm like, oh, I don't want that. I'm like, do you know how people would get so pissed off on what if Marvel ever decided to listen, that whole fan outcry to like, oh, just have a new actor. We don't need to give it to Shuri yet. Continue what you left story. I'm like, no. If you do that direction, you're going to have people like us, comic book fans, that want Shuri, or basically Shuri, to pass the mantle, because continuing an actor for a movie, for a character, you're just appealing towards those fans. Look, I don't see no actor really doing a heart-to-heart going forward, bringing that character to life and doing that character to where, let's have it to where he is almost the same level that Chadwick Boseman is doing and do a little bit better. There's no way. There's really no way.
Yeah, some people are already saying, well, that franchise is dead. Some people are already saying that the franchise is dead.
I could actually believe that too. I mean, to be fair, I mean, like, I can actually believe that.
The director did sign. The director did sign up for like Disney Plus shows or something like that.
They're going to do they're going to do a Black Panther spinoff of his country, kind of establish of the whole Wakanda, African American movie type direction, and show to where it's more than just Black Panther. And to be fair, I think that's their best option, to where we could see to where these characters, this is like the legacy of Black Panther, and you can have where when Shuri takes over as the new Black Panther and the new queen of Wakanda going forward, or just have where Black Panther, like we said, Black Panther, aka King T'Challa, passed the mantle towards Shuri and saying, you're the new, and you can have where a deep fake impression, because there are a lot of people to where they could change your voice to fit into a certain person. You get what I'm saying? Or there's impressions to where it almost sounds like that particular person. I mean, if we could have like Troy Baker sound like Mark Hamill's Joker, then honestly, I really feel like we can get someone that could do a good job on an impression of yours truly, Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther. But I mean, how would you feel about that one?
It's fine. They can do that. It's just that my anticipation for most of this stuff is just kind of like, you know. As a comic book fan, there's a lot of things that are just missing from the MCU, but they have
what is missing towards you? Like, because there are a few things I would want. Like, I mean, like, what I want is, I feel like with the MCU the way it is, I would want to see the building of the new Avengers. That's what I would want to see. And the only characters that I would replace just because, like, situations like Chadwick Boseman, I would have it where Shuri pretty much becomes the new Black Panther. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like the things I'm talking about, like that are missing, are like toned down characterizations. Like because MCU tones them down. Like Iron Man could never like go through Demon in a Bottle in the movies. You know?
Oh yeah, that's. But yet again, like, to be fair, I honestly feel that if we're talking about Avengers, if we're talking about the Iron Man sequels, I feel like they just literally just speak Robert Downey Jr. a lot of times. Um,
Yeah, they have to
I mean, to
because
me,
he's like
I
the
really, I'm like, I'm just saying the sequels of Iron Man. I feel like the serious aspects towards Tony Stark or Iron Man 1, uh, Spider Man Homecoming to a certain degree,
in Civil
Civil
War.
War, Civil War, and all the Avengers films. That is basically Tony Stark. I mean, my dad said that because he read that character way before me, and I just feel like I personally feel that, I mean, they get that character right on other films instead of his solo films. I mean,
Yeah.
I another thing I really wish they really did better is the Jane Foster Thor romance. And literally did the worst casting choices. I'm sorry, I really don't. And that's another thing too. I'm scared shitless on Natalie Portman as Jane Foster, female Thor. Oh man, I'm hoping she proves me wrong, because I mean, I really, like, I did not like her at all. Like,
I
I
don't know. I
really,
think they're just gonna do some type of comedy sitcom. Like,
I mean, like, it's gonna be hilarious, but I mean, on the other factor, like the principal factor of, oh yeah, it's gonna be funny to a certain degree, where, oh yeah, Thor can't pick up Mjolnir. Let's have you, Jane Foster, and she picks it up and she transforms into the mighty Thor, and she's like, whoa, what the hell? And you can have that whole comedy aspect, which is gonna be hilarious. And it's, granted, it might piss off some people, but I mean, like, I might laugh because the way how they should handle it. But I mean, I really feel like that would be really good direction. But I'm like, with Thor, it's like, I understand they tried, but yet again, when the actor is unhappy, and that's another thing too, the actor really wanted to leave Marvel because he
oh
didn't
yeah,
like.
they were probably gonna like kill him off in Ragnarok and then bring him back in like Endgame or something for one more time or something.
Yeah, or something like that, or just do something else. I mean, like, the way they did the whole thing. Oh, he didn't like the script aspect of what the character was doing, and I'm like, oh shit, that really says a lot. No
And
wonder
then
why.
they literally turned Thor into just Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, basically, yeah, by the actor's choice. And to be fair, it worked because I feel like Thor was getting overshadowed on the whole Loki aspect. I
Oh
feel like
yeah.
Loki was really taking him, that character, where it's Loki's the show, not Thor's the show.
Hmm.
Loki's in a small part of Ragnarok than he was in Thor 1 or The Dark World. And that
And
kind of says
the
a lot.
Dark World, I heard the director, he was unhappy, Alan Taylor, because they cut so much of the development of the villains with the Dark Elves in favor for more
Yeah,
Loki and more Thor comedy. And
yeah,
he was really
I heard about
unhappy with
stuff
the
like, I heard stuff like that too. But yet
he was
again,
really unhappy with the Guardians of the Galaxy end credit scene because they got someone else to come in and direct that scene and just put that in there.
that is true. I heard about something like that. But I mean, I mean, granted, Marvel has learned their lesson of, you let the creator do what they want, let the creator do what they got to do to make that film. I mean, that's the thing about the difference between Warner Brothers and Marvel Studios. Marvel Studios realizes, like, hey, we can't keep on doing this. We gotta let our people do their job, and if we interfere them, it's gonna hurt us in the long run.
I
And
feel like like they go toward, like they do what they want, but it's more in what kind of Kevin Feige's formula and statistics are. You know,
Well,
like
to be fair, it's in like what works. Like, got to fit in what's work in the tone shift towards that particular direction. It's because they have kind of like took the model of a seasonal TV show aspect, and
oh yeah,
they got to keep that aspect going. If you change it, like the DC films, if you watch Man of Steel, Wonder Woman, Batman vs Superman, and then watch Aquaman and Justice League, it's a completely, and also Wonder Woman 84 and Birds of Prey, it's a completely different tone. It's completely like, what the hell? There's no cohesiveness. There's nothing like
yeah.
that
That's
at
one of my
all.
biggest problems with DC. Nothing really makes any sense, and I'm like,
Yeah,
well, they could have just used the multi. If they were gonna do that, like with everything not making sense, they should have just came out the gate with the multiverse idea.
yeah, that's true. To be fair, that's also true. I mean, I really kind of feel like with the multiverse, like a lot of times I just look at it like you're using that as like a
It's the ultimate scapegoat.
disguise. It's a good, it's an ultimate scapegoat. No one's gonna outcry. No one's gonna say, "Oh, fuck you! I'm not gonna support you," even though you will have that, but it's not gonna be in a dramatic backlash moment. And I guarantee you, like, I mean, people are gonna love Robert Pattinson more than Ben Affleck, and that is just gonna say a lot. And I really feel like that's a shame because we never got the chance to see Ben Affleck's Batman. I mean, we never got it.
The
So I
only
mean,
thing
like,
Ben Affleck wanted to do was The Dark Knight Returns. From what I hear, he's a big fan of that, and that's what he wanted to do.
well, I also heard he wanted to do Arkham Asylum with
Yeah,
Deathstroke
that for like a yeah. And Batgirl
and
was going
all
to
the.
be in that movie.
Yeah, I
And
know. Really, I like Batgirl, but I like Cassie Kane. I really like
oh
her
yeah,
because,
yeah,
like, yeah, she's a mute as well. But I mean, she does talk. It's just there's certain points that when it's narrative wise, where oh yeah, she could talk to a certain point. But I mean,
yeah. She
and
was
God,
like born. She was born with the like language of violence or something like that in the comics. I remember reading something like that where it's like the language of violence. That's what she was taught.
yeah, and Batman kind of told her, "Don't do that. It's not that. That's not the way." And to be fair, it's a good direction. It's good heart. It's a good a direction towards a character like her. And I thought they were gonna build up to her in Birds of Prey film. Wrong. Oh God.
Yeah, that wasn't
Oh,
even the character, was it? Like it was
yeah,
completely different. Like it was like Hollywoodized version of that character, right?
yeah, exactly. And Hollywood esque in the worst way. I mean, there's a big difference of Hollywoodizing a character like Iron Man to a certain degree or Thor.
Mhm.
Um, but don't ever do that shit with fucking yours truly. Uh, Characters that are completely nothing like that character, like
Yeah.
Cassie Kane. I mean, and I blame that with yours truly, uh, Jeff Johns and the whole studio of Warner Brothers. So I'm like, you just did that just to cash into that character. Which, to be fair, she makes a lot of money and she has a popularity character. But I mean, like, I just feel like it really just upsets me that they ruined that character, and they also just ruined Huntress and Black Canary. I mean, like, what kind of crack is costume? Great actress, perfect casting choice. Horrible costume.
Oh yeah,
Horrible.
remember DC or Warner Brothers whenever they said oh, director's visions, that whole conceit. So that means you'll never probably get those, iconic versions of those characters because they just want directors' visions and views.
Yeah, but yet again, I kind of beg to differ on that thing because I'm like, if that's the case, then really, I mean, like you wouldn't be falsely advertisement on that whole movie. I mean, if you just be honest, maybe the movie would have been a little bit do well, but yet again, it would have still somewhat of the controversial problems, and that's the biggest issue about Warner Brothers. It's like, look, with Marvel, it's like they have plans, and and to be fair, I'm like, I talked about this with Third Back Theater. Compared towards Marvel and DC, do you think Marvel has a good opportunity? And I think they do. And I told him, like, do you think Marvel has a better chance on doing the multiverse? And he says, absolutely. They have it where the whole show, the whole MCU is getting to a point where once you introduce all the things that the multiverse has, what they want, and that's the thing too, like, by the time they do all the Secret Wars and Battle World, it's going to get to a point where you are celebrating Marvel's history once you do because the Fox actors signed like 4 movies or another trilogy or so movies. It really. Well, do you hear now, or you heard what I said?
Oh yeah, I was agreeing.
Okay, because for a moment I thought you kind of didn't hear me. But I mean, the facts are when you see all that stuff on the aspect of Marvel, you start to realize like Marvel has a better shot. And the whole multiverse, granted, at one point you could do that with Black Panther, but I feel like, I mean, you better just figure out some kind of plan. I mean, granted, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do, because I think about a lot of times, like, I really am hoping they do something good, because I'm hoping the movie does well and we really have where Marvel doesn't back out on it. But yet again, if they do, they'll just go on a different direction. I mean, you get what I'm saying? On that character, they'll finish that character. I mean, I'm sure Marvel was going to do a plan for the Hulk to have his trilogy, which is a goddamn shame. That character really got it. Literally no trilogy. Oh man.
I don't know. Maybe if Marvel never got bought by Disney and they were like still independent, penny pinching, maybe because they were working with Paramount as the distributor, and
they were also working with Avi Arad, and
he left. He left after like I think Iron Man 2 or something after that, like Iron Man 1 or something.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that one, but I mean, he was working on it. They were referencing what they were going to do with the Avengers films and all that stuff, and I'm like, okay. But yet again, I mean, like, I don't know what they were going to do with Avi Arad, because Avi Arad is a guy where he doesn't know what makes a good comic film. He really doesn't. He fucks up. Like, I mean, he could do a good Spider-Man film to a certain degree, but I feel like
he can do cartoons.
Yeah, he can. Yeah, he can do a lot of great stuff, but it's just like the guy doesn't understand about, like, when you knowing a character like, say, the Hulk, you got to do it right. You got to make it where it's a good direction, a good movie. He didn't. I mean, what kind of bullshit is this? Sorry, I'm playing Marvel's Avengers.
Oh yeah,
game.
I'm still here. I just got another news notification.
Good game. I'm sorry about that, but I'm playing Marvel's Avengers. Good game, but I mean, goddamn, it has some fucking glitchy bugs around it. Still, just needs to get fixed. Have you checked out that game? Marvel's Avengers.
Oh, Avengers. I've seen a lot of playthroughs through it, and I watched it as a movie.
Oh yeah. That's something I could definitely see your.
Because I was like, I want to know how, like, before I even play it, I want to know how the stories do it, because I don't play that many games as I used to,
I could see that. Yeah, I play a lot of games. Like, I play like a lot of franchise I like.
I like a lot of open worlds. I'll play those.
Oh, those games. Yeah, I see that. I could see why you would want to do that, because you get to screw around a lot. Which,
Yeah.
to be fair, that's very one of the best parts about open world games. Um, I do that with GTA 5. I like to mess around a lot of stuff and just say, get out of the car, bitch, and just like make something, just crash the car into the worst way possible. I mean, you should see me in GTA 5. I get like if I get in one of your cars, I'm gonna flip it upside down, smash it down into tiny little pieces, then go to the military area, grab a fucking jet, fly around, and just try to go crazy as ever. It's one of the best things I like doing about open world games.
Yeah,
Um,
and the
but I mean,
mods.
but it's just the facts are. Oh yeah, too. Um, the mods are definitely one of the best too. But I mean, like, but in open worlds, I really feel like, I mean, they're good. It's just sometimes they can be also expensive, a little bit of laziness to a certain degree, especially if certain games that don't have life to them. Um,
Yeah.
I've seen that with a couple of games, like some of the Spider-Man games and that's pre
Oh,
the
Amazing
games that,
Spider-Man 2, where the city is like
yeah,
a ghost city.
yeah, exactly. It's like almost like, I mean, granted, I like the boss battles. I like the fact that you get to fight uh, Carnage and all the other Spider-Man villains, and you get to have all that stuff. But yet again, it's like, and it kind of sets up something bigger later down the line. But it's like they really didn't do jack shit with it. I mean, like, and I would wonder what they were going to do. But I mean, after what happened to the Amazing Spider-Man, I kind of like, I'm better off without it. Um, but I mean, it's just like, have you played Prototype 1 and 2?
Oh yeah, I played those a long time ago. I think I still have them. They're pretty
Uh,
good.
I love those games. I really like. I feel like the second one doesn't get appreciated that it deserves. But I mean, like, granted, I understand. Like, oh, they turn Alex Mercer into a villain. To be fair, I feel like he's not human, so I feel like it made sense. And I don't think what they like. I don't see that franchise growing to a certain degree, like a big time uh, God of War would have gone. But yet again, I mean, like, they could have done a lot of great stuff with it. And maybe in the future, maybe they have where, oh, that was just Alex Mercer evil side, and Alex
Or a
Mercer,
clone.
or something, yeah, or something where he got blown to bits and he got pretty much split into a couple of people. There's a female Alex Mercer. There's a evil Alex Mercer. There's the Alex Mercer that we played in the first game. I mean, like, they could have loopholes around it.
Yeah,
That,
because a lot of people want a third game of that. I
yeah,
heard a
yeah,
lot of people want.
yeah. But I don't think Activision's gonna fucking do that. They're too much on playing Call of Duty, man. Gotta have that Call of Duty. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this right now. I don't buy much Call of Duty games. The only games I would buy Call of Duty is unless it really gets me. Like, I got World War II. I want to get Call of Duty Infinite, which is basically the space fucking shit. I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. I love this shit. This is
Yeah,
awesome. I mean,
those games were really good. Like I guess in the 2000s, like when the hype was really there.
yeah.
That's when I was like playing it.
Yeah, I don't play as much now. I mean, I mean, if you want to know, like, what I used to play, and
Hmm?
RIP on the games on the multiplayer aspect, on the multiplayer part, Transformers War for Cybertron and Fall Cybertron. Oh god, that was the best
Oh
multiplayer.
yeah,
That
those
was
are
literally.
some good cutscene movies.
Oh yeah, that too. But it's also, like, talk about the best multiplayer ever. I mean, though the multiplayer made you a part of the war of Transformers, and it really did great. And also the story modes are so good, so good. I mean, with Peter Cullen and the voice actors in that game. Oh man, I really just, I loved the tiny little bits, and it's just one of the greats, and I don't think any, like, that's another thing too. When I see the Netflix version of it, I just feel like I just shake my head like, Miss opportunity, miss opportunity, miss opportunity, miss opportunity, and you're only doing these characters just because of goddamn toy line. That's really it. And
Yeah.
it's also kind of sad. I mean, I'm not expecting much on the third season. Just go guns blazing on the fan fiction part on Beast Wars versus Beast Wars and Transformers. Like, I really feel like, I mean, it's just going to go full blown fan fiction. I mean, that's just really it. Um, it's just, I really kind of feel like most people just tend to not see the problems of the War of Cybertron Netflix shows. Because I mean, like, they introduced the Quintessons, they introduced Unicron, now they're introducing Galvatron, and they're introducing the Megatron from the Transformers Beast Wars. It's almost like you got three Megatrons. Yeah, I mean, you got two Optimus. So I'm like, this is why I say, like, fan fiction 2.0. I mean, like, guns blazing. Don't expect much. Just expect a great fan service that you like. I mean, that's just what I see.
It reminds me when you know, whenever they were making the Spider-Man movie, or whenever people thought it would never come out, the one thing I've always saw in Wizard magazines are people being like, "Oh, it should be the Venom saga," or something like that for like the Spider-Man movie or something.
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Is this way back in the Sam Raimi movies?
Yeah, it was like a little bit before them, like 2001, 2002,
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
late 90s.
Oh, yeah. I heard about stuff like that because, I mean, like, there are people saying, Venom, Venom, Venom. Are you going to do Venom? Are you going to do Venom? Are you going to do Venom? Everybody wanted to have Venom in
Yeah,
one of the Spider-Man films. And Avi Arad and Sony realizes, okay, we're going to do Venom soon. We're going to do Venom soon. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. Venom is coming. Venom is coming.
it was
And
essentially the Eddie Brock from the cartoon. That's the kind of what they kind of did without him being like a beefcake kind of guy.
yeah, I agree, but I mean, like, here's the thing about that. I mean, like, Sam Raimi didn't want to do the Venom character.
Yeah, he wanted Vulture but mainly Sandman as the villain.
He openly said he's a fan of the Silver Age comics. And to be fair, I honestly respect him because if you look at it, the Spider-Man films, it's a very much a nod towards the Silver Age of Spider-Man to a certain degree, and I agree with that. I totally agree with that. The only part that he didn't do is Gwen Stacy, right? I mean, I feel like Gwen Stacy should be the first. I feel like Gwen Stacy is the first love of Peter, and I kind of feel like Sam Raimi just felt like, why don't we just go with the redhead girl? I mean, that's just how I see it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah, originally, apparently that was Avi Arad and Kevin
really?
Feige who wanted Mary Jane as love interest because she was super popular at the time, and the animated show.
Okay, all right. I didn't know about that. Thank you for telling me. Okay, all right.
And Kevin Feige is also the one who was also pushing for Venom in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, to be fair, that's also true. It's like, fuck, he did the entire, and that's also another thing is too. I mean, like I said this as well. Like, I mean, is he going to produce Spider-Man 4? Are they like? I mean, like, is he like that? That's a big point where I look at it like, if they're going to do Spider-Man 4 and the whole Spider-Verse intertwining with the MCU, are they going to connect the two failed live action films into their universe? And granted, it's I want it, but it's also like it scares me on the MCU version.
If they made Spider-Man 4, that'll be Sony's Hail Mary, and if it's successful, that's when they ditch everything else and just keep going with that one, I guess.
Yeah, so I kind of see that. I mean, to be fair, I kind of see that more and more. I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want that because, I mean, in the long run, that's going to fail, and it's going to be curtains for Sony.
Yeah, it'll be back to basics. It'll be them repeating the same mistakes over and over again. Because Tobey Maguire, I think it was contracted for like Spider-Man 5 and 6 because 4 was supposed to be like a new trilogy.
Yeah, but there was also a part where he was going to leave the role. They were going to James Bond Spider-Man. There were interviews of what I've heard of he was going to leave Spider-Man. Toby was going to leave, and they were going to recast or something to where they passed the mantle. And I'm like,
the thing about that is that he wouldn't do the movie without Sam Raimi. That's the thing, because the cast of that, they really liked working with Sam Raimi, and they're like, oh, we wouldn't do it without Sam Raimi.
Yeah, so I agree with that whole statement. And to be fair, I could see the same thing towards Zack Snyder. I don't see Ben Affleck or Henry Cavill working with Warner Brothers and saying, we want to do this, and they're saying, no, we're like, if Zack's going to be a part of it, I'll do it, but if it's not, I'm not going to do it. And also another thing is, I hear Christian Bale supposedly trying to come back or something, and it's like, I'm like, are we going to have Michael Keaton? Are we going to have it's almost at a point to where is this Flash movie going to be a Batman verse? I mean,
they might as well just change the title to that or something.
To be fair, I kind of feel like that's going to be like, yeah, that's something that we're going to end up.
Because I heard they want to have like a female Trinity in there, like a female Trinity with Batgirl, Supergirl, and Wonder Woman or something, another Wonder Woman. I heard they want to recast Aquaman or something. It's just all over the place.
And also another thing is, it's just, well, to be fair, I kind of be like, well, why don't you just reboot Aquaman? I mean, like, you made your movie. I'm all good.
Yeah, they have to. Movie. Like, there's nowhere really to go after that.
I mean, like, to be fair, I kind of like, I'm good. You did your trilogy in one movie. Thanks, Warner Brothers. I have no problem. Jason Momoa got a good paycheck. He got to play that character. I mean, we're all good. I'm all good. It's just, it really would just be really stupid. And honestly, I'm just like thinking, oh man, the more I think about Warner Brothers, the more I tend to just facepalm. Like, I mean,
the more time they waste, for them, if they want to reboot, they should just reboot. If they really want that, they should just reboot. If they don't,
don't think about it. Don't think about it. Just fucking do it. Don't care what we say. We could say well the hell we want, but I mean, if you're in the studio, you're gonna get successful regardless what. I mean, you're already doing that with fucking with Batman and Superman, and then that's another thing too. When you think about Batman and Superman, you start to wonder, like, where are you gonna go with those two characters? Are we going to do just the same bullshit that we did with that character of Superman? He's going to have the whole origin story again. He's going to have the same shit over and over. It's like, I want to see a Superman that has fought General Zod. I want to see a Superman that has fought all the big
pre-established.
Yeah, pre-established. Yeah, just establish the character and just have him face a villain that we have never seen. I would kill to see him face Darkseid.
Parasite.
Or yeah, that too. Like, I mean, there are so many villains that, oh man, it's just like, why does fucking characters like Darkseid get literally done justice for the first time and that's why I love about Zack Snyder's Justice League. You see Darkseid for the first time in live action. It's like, oh my god, oh man, I want to see that character face the Superman. That Superman that's in that universe. Oh man, and the way they were describing the battle between Superman and Darkseid in Justice League 2. Oh, it went batshit crazy, and it's like, why? I mean, it's almost like, when you know what you could have gotten and you know what you should have you feel salty. You feel very salty. And now, granted, I mean, like, the whole multiverse, I mean, that's another thing, too, about the Flash movie. Apparently, they want to do the whole, we're going to have we're going to have that black Superman. Oh, yeah, he's going to be canon. We're going to have a multiverse Justice League. Oh, wow. And I'm like, oh dear God, no. Oh, man, I mean, we're at that point. I'm like, So we're gonna have like, I mean, so you're basically telling me let's have Christian Bale as the fucking yours truly Batman. Let's have the actor who played Superman in Superman Returns. Forgot his name. Fuck. He's in the
Oh, Brandon
CW playing
Routh.
the. Yeah, Brett. Let's have him come back as Superman in the new Justice League film. Let's have a different Wonder Woman in this movie. Let's have a different Aquaman or Aquawoman. Just have it's basically kind of just different genders. Go forward, and let's have a female Kryptonian or whatever. And it's just like, I'm done. I'm tapping out. Like, I mean, that's where I see like people are just like, I'm tapping out. Fuck this shit, because they don't establish it. When you see Marvel doing it and they establish it, they make you get to know those characters. They make you get to know those stuff. It's like, oh my god, it's almost like it's nearly default. Marvel
WB is just founded on bad foundations and wasted potential. That's their entire filmography for DC comic adaptations.
I mean, like someday, like someone's like, I mean, like AT&T has to literally step in, because I'm like, it's gonna like, and that's another thing too. Like I always say this, for better for worse, if we win the war, because this is a war, this is a long drawn out war, and of the whole Zack Snyder verse, and and that's another thing. It's like, let's hope let's hope that it carries on to a point where they're going to continue these characters and just go forward. But I don't know. I mean, like for me, it's just like, it's not too late to do Zack Snyder's story, but it's almost like a point to where, and I mean, it's almost at a point to where you're going to have to do Zack Snyder's story just to play damage control. And it shouldn't be that direction. It shouldn't be in, like, a lot of times you're thinking, like, it shouldn't be this case. It shouldn't be this problem. And, like, but I mean, like, I get a certain studios have their own fat ego. And, you know, like, I always come back to the Tim Burton Batman fiasco. The moment they saw the backlash and that movie didn't do that well as they expected, they jumped. And the same thing happened towards yours truly, fucking Zack Snyder. And it's just, it is what it is. But I mean, I don't know what else I could say. I mean, like, personally for me, I mean, it's just, it's at that point with Warner Brothers. It's really embarrassing. But but as for Marvel and Black Panther, I really just feel like they're in good hands. I just think that people really need to start just come to think like Black Panther is not just a degree. I don't know about you, but it's just like, it really kind of hurts that I'm like, people just don't want to have new things, or don't want to like accept that the actor's gone.
That's the thing about, like,
we don't want to continue.
That's the thing about, like, comic book fans, you know, and of different versions of the characters, but also most of them are surrounded by, you know, a certain character for most of the, you know, mythology of these characters, because they are mythology now. They're not just, you know.
Yeah, they're at that point
people,
to where you can make your own version. Yeah, I can agree.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you can make your own shit. I mean, like, it didn't used to be like this. It didn't. It just used to be like you adapt the stories or adapt that certain character and you don't change it. Mm-hmm. It was always like that formula. That formula has changed. That formula is gone. Now it's like make up as you go along, but it's like it has to be successful. And like CW, who have been successful in their universe, it's the only DC universe that have been successful, both good and bad, and the worst way. I mean, like I've complained about how they treated Supergirl and just ruined that character in every single way, and they wanted to do their version of Superman, and they got it, but it's just like they had to destroy a character that truly missing the
Yeah,
point.
there's some memes going around about that, calling him Super Cuck and Lois or something.
Oh god, I haven't seen. I watched episode 1. It's really good, promising. Did they fuck it up lately? I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen many of the episodes. The only thing I saw was whenever everyone online was fanboying over the opening. That, because, oh look, he's wearing the classic costume. Wearing
Oh
the
yeah,
Fletcher
yeah.
suit.
That was surprising. That was surprising. I mean, like, to be fair, but I really kind of feel like, yeah, like they definitely redeemed that Superman. I honestly kind of feel like after the bullshit of what they did to that character, oh oh god, and they actually, and people say that's actually Superman in compared towards the Zack Snyder version. I'm like, oh god, you must be smoking drugs. I mean, like, you
In
must
a
be
weird
really.
way, since most of the writers and stuff today have gone away from the old ways of there's one essential version of this character, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. Mhm.
that now it's just full on who's ever version. I think
Yeah,
that
yeah,
kind of
exactly.
hurts the characters in a way, because there are like classic fans who love the classic, old school,
Yeah, but that's the
idyllic
thing too.
version of them.
That's the thing too. Like, I mean, and that also, like, those people I don't really tend to like that very much. My dad
Mhm.
used to be that. My dad was that person. I mean, I always have arguments of like uh characters to where like Jane Foster Thor or Rhodey as Captain America, Miles Morales, uh, shit like that. I mean, people who really just want something new or refreshing, and you can't just do the same established characters. Sometimes you just gotta change it up, and that's something that I
Mhm.
liked about the whole Jane Foster aspect and the whole thing of just Jane Foster. Yeah, she was dying, but she evolved, and to be fair, they
Mhm.
kind of changed Thor to a certain degree. He was power. In a way, he kind of was. Let's just say he got a reality check, but yet again, the moment he got his hammer back to being what he was before. That's the
Yeah.
one big problem. That's and
It's
that's just that. And also just go a little bit on DC's end. I was a humongous fan of the New 52. The moment DCU failed and Rebirth came along, it was a massive nostalgia goggles on the whole pre 52 fans. And it
oh
really alienated on people like me who liked Wonder Woman and Superman, and really just pushed people like me away from that whole thing. Now I really just don't understand, like, what are you doing with that character of Wonder Woman? First you're mentioning the events of her original origin, and then you're also mentioning the New 52 origin. Which is it are you going to go stick with?
yeah,
And it's just like, it's just
and now DC is
uh,
like, oh, who gives a blank about it? They're like, oh, whatever, continuity, whatever.
and that's but I mean, like, Marvel is somewhat the same to a certain degree, but the difference between Marvel and DC is like they know their books might fail, but they don't give a fuck. I mean, they don't care. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
they're
Marvel.
they're there to, they're there
Yeah,
to sell a product.
Post Secret Wars, they just don't care if the book fails or succeeds.
Yeah, and to be fair, that's both good and bad at the same time. It tells me, and to be fair, I also kind of feel like the same thing towards IDW and Image and Dark Horse.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like with them, it's like they know what sells and what doesn't, and if it is successful, great, awesome. They don't cave into people. Caving into people that really just you're only dooming yourself, because now you're at a point where once you give a mouse a cookie, you're going to give a glass. He's going to get a glass of milk, and it's just like it's over, it's done. And the moment they do something new and different, the whole future state thing and everything between that and all that crap, instantly hate it because it's drastically different than the what came before, and it really just like I loved it. I thought it's literally the best shit ever, if you ask me, because it's drastically different and new. Because people want new and refreshing stories, and also good continuity directions and going forward, not caving into people who just only like a certain thing. Like, I mean, I personally feel like introducing Wally, the original Wally from the older continuity, was a horrible mistake. Horrible. I mean, I get it.
That's
Jeff
the
Johns.
problem with Rebirth. That's the problem with Rebirth. It tries to do status quo and anti-status quo, and it doesn't meet in the middle. It doesn't satisfy either, in my opinion.
I mean, like if I had it my way, I would have just had like a new version of Wally. It's the same, like in a way, it's the same character to where like he's everything that you think he is, but he's just a new interpretation of it. I mean, like he does things differently than the other version didn't do. But instead, we didn't do any of that shit. We do bullshit, and we appeal to all the nostalgic goggles. Now, granted, you can have good nostalgia, like the whole Eddie Brock situation. I mean, to be fair, like before I forgot the name of the writer. Fuck, the writer that's in Venom now, before he leaves, he like before the current writers that are doing Venom right now, it was like, and when they have it where Eddie Brock's back to being Venom again, like we knew it was going to happen eventually, we just didn't know when. And Marvel eventually cave into those people, but they also realized like people did like Agent Venom. They really did like that whole character arc to where they made Venom into a full-blown hero. And they made him to where he is more than just your average superhero. And he could be a good military hero. He could do all that stuff. And granted, there's many people have theories that maybe Eddie Brock may pass the torch towards his son or towards his Flash Thompson, which honestly I wouldn't mind. I mean, like I would like. It's almost like the same thing towards if they want to retire Peter Parker and they wanted to pass the torch towards Miles and give it to where he's the main Spider-Man. He's going to be in the Amazing Spider-Man title, which, to be fair, that would be a wet dream. I mean, that would just be great.
These legacy characters and distaff characters, which are like, male or female versions of already previously established characters, and to an extent supporting characters, always get screwed over.
To a certain degree, yeah, it does. But certain things stick, like the whole Kamala Khan and Miss Marvel. That thing does stick. And Miles sticks around because they know they got a guy that's black and also they got a black Spider-Man, and they know that he sells. But if it's not like let's say here War Machine or Jane Foster or whatever, good luck. Not gonna happen. You're only gonna be there for 6 months to a goddamn year, and you're gonna be gone. And like, to be fair, like sometimes they establish it. Sometimes they just tell you that character's not going to be around forever. I mean, like the whole part where the sole reason why Tony Stark couldn't be Iron Man is because he has an alcohol issue. His company went out of business, and the whole thing of Obadiah Stane took over and Stark Industries renamed it, and then Tony had alcohol issues and Rhodey had to become Iron Man and all that stuff. That was like acknowledging to where it was eventually going to have that character become have Tony Stark back to being what he was, but in the long run, we're gonna have a new Iron Man. And I kind of
Mhm.
wonder, like, if they ever did have him back to being, if they ever had War Machine back to being um, Iron Man again, I really feel like the race card would go over 9,000. And I just feel like, granted, it's kind of happening with the whole Captain America situation. Like, people
Yeah.
don't want Falcon to be the new Captain America, which I really kind of feel like he was one of the best choice for Captain America. He really is a lot better as Captain America than he is as Falcon, and it kind of establishes Captain America is more of a one guy whole thing. It's like the whole thing I just said about Black Panther. If
Mhm.
you have a guy that's about a country, a character that's based on a country, it's everybody. It's literally everybody, and that's the whole thing. And granted, I mean, I don't know about people today now. It's just like people today are so fucking stupid a lot of times. I mean, they want certain things to go their way or the
Yeah,
highway, and it's just
it wasn't like this. Like it became like this whenever like New 52 and Marvel Now happened, in my opinion. Well, maybe post Secret Wars, post Convergence. That's when the big.
um. I mean, like, to be fair, I kind of feel like like, I feel like that always been around, like, in the long run.
Yeah.
Like, I'm using, like, everything: entertainment, movies, TV shows. Like,
Mhm.
for example, George Lucas. We all know how that went. The
Oh yeah.
fiasco, the death threats, and I'm like, and I look at the actor who played Anakin Skywalker, and I'm like, I really like Kid Anakin Skywalker. I
Didn't
like
he
the
go to
actor
prison?
in his. He was a in other films. He was one of the best parts of one of his films, like Jingle All the Way, and a few other
Mhm.
films that he was in. Like, he's a good kid. He's a good kid actor, and see that actor get wasted, man, it really upsets me. It really does. It's just like, now he's got some fucking issues. Now he's got some fucking mental
Mhm.
issues because the death threats, the making fun of, the bulliness, and it's still happening to this day. And one thing that really scares me about Star Wars,
Mhm.
at everything, uh, the whole, one thing that scares me about Star Wars is I feel like we're gonna get to a point that someone's gonna push an actor that's in a main lead Star Wars film, and he's gonna go suicide himself. I really feel like that's gonna happen.
Reminds me of the
Yeah,
Jar Jar Binks actor.
yeah, that's not another thing too. He almost did it too. That's another
Yeah.
scary thought, and that would have been like, everyone would use that. Can you imagine that shit happening? It's like where every other pro Disney Star Wars would use that as a tool. I mean, shit. I mean, that is saying a lot. That would give the Disney shields a platform. You get what I'm saying? I mean, like,
Mhm.
to kind of talk shit about how the anti haters would go. You get what I'm saying, on the whole, like, the anti
Yeah.
haters of Disney. And it's like, oh, you're just going to be death threats in them and all that shit. You're one of the reasons why Star Wars isn't that great anymore, or some bullshit like that. It just sometimes
In
pisses
my
me off.
opinion, I kind of just want like for all like this mythology characters like superheroes or Star Wars. Uh, is there a way to do like a status quo version over here and a legacy version over here? You know what I'm saying? Like Earth
And
One, Earth Two.
honestly, I think that there is. I think that can be ways that you could do legacy characters and have them stick around. Like, the only legacy characters that have stick around in Marvel comics is Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, Kate Bishop as Hawkeye. Which, to be fair, that's kind of like, it was very foreshadowing in the Young Avengers comics. Um, they were having a female Hawkeye, and it was very much
Mhm.
heavily towards that direction. Um, and I'm hoping we see that more, because I really am excited, because they got an actress that I'm like, oh dear God, fan casting perfectness. We got the actress we wanted. I mean, like, she's in here for life. I mean, shit, she's gonna be stuck here for the next 10 years or more going forward on that show, because I mean, granted, she's already in 2 shows, Hawkeye and her other show on fucking what else? I think it was iTunes or something. I don't know, but I mean, it really kind of makes me like I'm very happy that they got the actress that I wanted because at the beginning, like it was rumored, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I really hope that happens. I hope because she would be perfect. She would kill it. I mean, because I've seen her movies, she's a really great actress. Haley Steinfeld's a good one. Even though, like, I thought of her Transformer film absolutely sucked on multiple reasons. Not her. I mean, like, she wasn't
Oh wait,
bad.
the
I mean, like,
Bumblebee thing, the Bumblebee
yeah,
thing.
yeah, and also honestly, I just feel like the movie just really was not very interesting. I mean, like I, the whole military part, working with the Decepticons, and I'm like, have we seen this movie before? Oh yeah, we have with the
It's
Michael Bay
Transformers
movie.
One. It's a
Yeah,
kid in the car in a like big giant galactic situation.
yeah, exactly. Minus the Autobots and Decepticons fully. It's like, it's stupid. It's just so stupid. And I just feel like with the whole aspect of what they're doing on the Transformers aspect, on what they're doing on Transformers, like, I really hope that they create a director, which I heard, fuck, uh, I forgot the actor who played Killmonger is going to direct his first time directing Creed 3, which is going to be very interesting how that's going to go. An
With
actor
no
taking,
Rocky Balboa in it at all.
yeah, that's another thing too. I'm like, I don't know about that. I just don't. I kind of feel like Rocky Balboa, like I really felt like Rocky Balboa was great in Creed, and I was kind of hoping like they were going to foreshadowing Rocky Balboa in his death in 3 and have where that whole moment, and you get like, granted, it would be kind of like that moment to where he Creed, not a Creed, fucking which,
Paulie.
yeah, Paulie. When Paulie died, it was like kind of goes towards that, and Creed was gonna have to kind of go forward and beat the champion and everything between. It was. I thought we were gonna go that direction, but instead, you kind of go the opposite, and it really kind of makes me wonder, like, what are we doing with the Creed movies? I mean, like, the Creed movie was one of the best parts of uh, the whole part of with passing the torch towards one generation out of the other. I kind of felt like the Creed movies was a continuation from Rocky Balboa, and now it's like, no, we have no Rocky, and it's like, what the hell, man? I mean, it just kind of makes what's the point out of it? It's just like, and granted, it's probably Stallone, money and direction for his character, and
Yeah.
and it really just, I get it. He feels a little protective, but I really don't want an 8th Rocky film.
A
And hell,
star
if there were,
vehicle. It's like a star vehicle.
yeah, exactly. And I'm like, I don't want that. I mean, like, and the way his pitch wanted to go for, I'm like, but we did that movie. Let's go Rocky 5. We did that movie. Let's go Creed. How
Yeah,
come, like,
it's like they're
why are we,
following the Rocky Balboa formula
yeah, and it's like,
without
why are we,
following the formula.
yeah, why we're doing Creed 5 not once but twice now, 3 times now, have where, oh, he trains some guy that's illegal and all that. So I'm like, why we're going a political film? Like, granted, I don't, I'm like, when I look at it, I'm like, you could have a really good story with it, but it's like the principal factor. I'm like, why? What can't we just continue what we started, or can't we have that character be in Creed as well and just go forward? But it's just the principal factor. I get the whole problem on where they wanted to go, but it's like, but it's just, I don't know. But maybe it's just whole of, oh, I don't want to have my character be fucked with. I mean, I get it. Stallone could be really a fat ego. Like, he can have a really good ego on terms of what he wants to do, and it's just, to be
Where's
fair,
the Expendables 4?
oh god, that movie was more like the nostalgia of the action movie genre. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
that is kind of dead to a certain degree. I feel
There's
like
like
I mean
there's no big action stars except for Jason Statham and Scott Adkins. That's about it.
I would say The Rock to a certain degree, because The Rock has a big name
Oh yeah, he's
towards
still out there.
he's still like I mean like he's a big name towards himself. I mean, and that's the thing too. Like he's a very like he you could do a movie just uh on himself. I mean, that's the one thing. And granted, they're kind of doing a TV show about him, but it's like the principal factor is like he's such a really a well-known and loved person. I'm like, it really kind of says a lot towards where people like him want to go. And it's just, and also another thing is like the Fast and Furious movies. I'm like the one thing I really want that's so glad that's going to be over, and that's the Fast and Furious films. Oh, talk about should have ended in 7, should have ended in 6. Just overall, just multiple times they had multiple ending points.
Are they actually ending it now, or are they gonna
Yeah, they're
do
going to
like
end it at 10. They're going to end
10?
it at 10.
Oh,
They're going to end it at 10. But yet again, when the studio says something that they going to end something, they really don't end that shit.
yeah.
I mean,
Get ready for 10, 11, and 12.
they're gonna
Watch
like,
them fight dinosaurs.
Oh god, dude, that's another thing too. When you think of that, of the ridiculous factor, dude, they have talked about zombies, fucking outer space, and I'm like, I'm like, and to be fair, like people have said, like we could do a zombie or a Fast and Furious movie in space in the 10th film. I'm like, do it, actually do it. I would watch that movie. I mean, that shit would be the best of the best because I hated 8th. No, I hate movie 8, Fast 8. I really just absolutely hated that movie.
The Avengers with cars.
Yeah, and it's just like the fucking they kept on talking about Paul Walker and everything in between on that shit. And I'm like, oh god, we're gonna market the shit out of him. We're gonna market what happened and use his character as a political agenda film. And it's like, how come The Rock's spin-off Fast and Furious film is literally the best movie out of the entire franchise since the first 2 films, or should I say the first 3 films on the fun aspect, but the ridiculous factor is just Michael Bay factor.
They have like a super soldier. They have literally a super soldier in there.
Yeah, dude. I mean, there are moments I do feel like they really take some influence on Winter Soldier and aspect. Like, oh, you straight out just took that shit from Marvel,
like G.I. Joe.
Oh yeah, that too. Because you know the whole I'm a black Superman. And I'm like, oh god, you're just mentioning that stuff. It's just hilarious to a certain degree. I mean, it really just says a lot. It really just does, and it just kind of makes you just kind of wonder, like, wow, even Marvel, just not even non-DC film, just really shows that people are trying to beat Marvel in certain directions.
Yeah, they're trying to go out there with all the big concepts.
And to be fair, it works and it fails at the same time, and it's just
I kind of prefer more grounded kind of, not like everything has to be grounded, but like the aesthetic of it and maybe the insanity of the fiction,
Yeah, I could agree with that statement. I mean, like, I personally feel like, especially Thor, I mean, like, I feel like Thor should be grounded on certain degrees, but I mean, I would have liked the fantasy elements going forward, and I really felt like they didn't do that.
I don't think they've ever done that. They've kind of done like Easter eggs and more of the colors.
Well, I honestly kind of feel like we got to know a little bit more of Asgard, but yet again, they didn't show the other 9 realms. Like, we saw Surtur's realm. That was cool.
Yeah.
Moment. I mean, like, we saw fucking, and this, but granted, maybe like Thor has another trilogy, we could do that direction. And it gives me some type of hope. But the problem with Thor, I really feel like they ruined Thor's story. They really did that whole, like, he was destined to become king. We have that moment to where he becomes king. But oh wait, next movie in, his entire fucking people get slaughtered. His entire family gets killed before he becomes
Yeah,
king. So the whole
yeah. Then he just
character,
gives it up.
yeah, and that
Then he
too.
just gives
So
it
the
up.
whole Yeah, and so the whole character just feels like worthless now, and it's almost like, why not replace it? And everyone's like, oh, the Marvel's going to replace him. Why not replace the character? Why not? I mean, like when you
Yeah,
really think of Thor, I mean, like unless we're just going to have it where this is a character, this is a Thor version that lost everything, and that's the
that's the
thing.
thing about like these general audience pleasing MCU films or superhero films is
Yeah,
that they
that's
have
why
to
that's why.
Hollywoodize it so much that they get rid of most of the elements and the characterizations that should be there, but I guess audience
Yeah,
won't
I
accept
agree.
them.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you because there are moments where I see audiences of MCU, and even to be fair, DC to a certain degree. There's certain because I had friends with that just literally just say I only like Zack Snyder. I don't really care about DC comics, and I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't try to like reason with them. If I try to, it doesn't go anywhere. It really doesn't, and it just really kind of says a lot about how people today are just like they're so naive and stupid, and it just kind of shows you like they're partially one of the blames. Like I blame them for not calling out Marvel's bullshit on the whole fucking up the Mandarin. And I don't know if you heard about the
Hmm.
whole Mandarin on what they're doing with Shang-Chi. They revealed supposedly the toy version of the Mandarin.
Yeah,
Uh,
it sounds like sloppy seconds.
yeah, and it's almost like they're not even gonna. Granted, I'm crossing my fingers that they show the rings at the ending of the film, and they're showing like. And to be fair, like there are different types of figures that Hasbro makes, and in points of the film. So I'm kind of thinking maybe maybe they haven't done the point to where he has the rings and all that stuff. So I'm crossing my fingers, and that's the biggest thing. I'm like, I really want the Mandarin to be done very well, and I know a lot of people are like kind of wondering like, why is the Mandarin in Shang-Chi? Couldn't we just have the character face Iron Man? Yeah, you could. You really could. But they're doing it for culture reasons. They're doing it in Japan culture reasons, and there's a good way of doing it. But I
Hmm.
mean, I just like because the Mandarin name's a Japanese culture name, so I kind of feel like it makes sense. I get it. I don't have to like it. I get it.
Hmm.
Uh, that's the thing. Like I don't.
That's one of the things because I'm like, does the Mandarin and does Fing Fang Foom, do they have to be alien in origin? Can they be kind of tech based, to fit in with like Iron Man 1's aesthetic, even though I guess they moved on from that and just gone loony bin Jim on everything.
Well, to be fair, the Mandarin was gonna supposedly gonna be in Iron Man 1. They
Yeah,
wrote
but
a
Mark Millar and well, mainly Mark Millar, Bendis was there. It's the Marvel Creative Committee.
yeah.
They told Mark Millar told Marvel and them not to do it because audience right now won't be into it like with a magic
It won't be
rings.
into it. Yeah, which is kind of stupid and dumb. But yet again, when you think about Iron Man, it's like he's a very tech sci-fi character, and have him face a guy who has rings and from an alien world and all that crazy bullshit, and supposedly dragons are aliens and all that crap. I mean,
Yeah, here's
it
the
goes a
thing.
little bit.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
me, here's the thing. I don't mind if they stick like modernize it, but just stick to the characterizations and the character and just
Well,
the
I totally agree
character.
with you. I totally agree with you. I'm in the same way. I'm like, for me, I'm like for example, like Miss Marvel. I still am worried that she might be a mutant, because the sole reason why they did the Inhumans aspect is Marvel Studios, or one of the executives of Marvel Studios, wanted an X-Men direction,
Oh
and
yeah, Ike Perlmutter.
they yeah, and they just Marvel decided to say, okay, wait, why don't we just do the Inhumans? I mean, they're the only thing we could think of. I mean, but granted, I mean, the Inhumans are just one family. They're not supposed to be an entire race. And then you have that whole feud of the X-Men and the mutants and the Inhumans and the whole thing of like all that crap, which is really
Originally, they were going to make Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, the MCU versions of them, Inhumans.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Which, to be fair, like originally that was the case, but now since they got X-Men now, so they can say, okay, why don't we just change that already? Because that was a stupid origin. And I guarantee you, like once we like, and that's another thing too. Like, I'm dying to see what is when they do their own version of Magneto. They're gonna have to do a lot of explaining to do. My whole idea of what I think they're gonna end up doing is Magneto gave up his kids because he thought if his kids were threatened because he is going to do some terrible things, he's a guy to where mutants were hunted down to a certain point in humans' history. You can have where World War II or World War One was like kind of like a mutants versus humans direction, to where that was their first war and going forward and all that stuff, and it ended on a truce and everything between on that, and mutants kind of age slowly or some bullshit like that. But I mean, I don't know. I mean they have to have a good reason what Magneto is being the bad guy in a way. I mean, characters like Doctor Doom, Namor, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, they're so easy to do. It's just not funny. And I just feel like I'm going to say this, I really just feel like they're the most easiest characters, but it comes to characters like X-Men or even Blade to a certain degree. And I don't know about you, but how do you feel about Zack Snyder doing Blade? I think that shit would be perfect with him. Like just going on the darker tone, going the whole aspect of the dark and gritty, and you have the vampires. I mean, you could have where when they're about to bite someone, they could close it or just not show it, or just have where it's in the distance or something like that, to where
I think Zack Snyder works best with like zombies, monsters, stuff like that.
Yeah, okay, I agree.
I think when he does stuff like that, it's kind of interesting, like with his style and everything.
Oh yeah. Oh, I totally agree. I mean, like, I even say Ghost Rider to a certain degree would fit beautifully. But also, like, I did heard, like, if he ever wanted to do a Marvel film, the first character he would want to do is Daredevil. And that's the whole aspect of, should we reboot Daredevil? And that's the one big toughie ever, like, I don't know. I mean, like,
they're gonna have to do it anyway. They might have to do it anyway. Like, I'm prepared for a reboot, because that's just what Hollywood does all the time now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. Anyway, I'm gonna end it. It was good talking to you, brother, and it was good talking to you. I'm gonna end this, and I'll see you later. And pretty much later, man.
All right, see ya.